Welcome, everyone. I'm Michaela Parker, founder and executive director for the Alliance for Data Science and AI, or ADSA, or ADSA, and I'm here to welcome you to our Listen and Lunch AI webinar series, where we bring you experts from around our community to share their approaches to incorporating AI in teaching and research in higher education. Today, we are welcoming Antonio Delgado, who will share how he approaches building and sustaining public-private partnerships, what he has learned about aligning funders with competing priorities, and what advice he has for community college leaders looking to develop similar initiatives on their own campuses. But first, a quick reminder that this event, like all ADSA events, is governed by our Code of Conduct, which you can find linked at this QR code or in the footer of our website. And briefly, for those of you unfamiliar with ADSA, we are a community of data science and AI leaders, practitioners, and educators who believe in a just, equitable future where data science and AI are thoughtfully applied in all domains for the benefit of all. You can learn more about our events and activities at our website, also linked with this QR code. But as I said, today I am thrilled to welcome Antonio Delgado, Vice President of Innovation and Technology Partnerships at Miami Dade College and founder of the National Applied AI Consortium. Antonio has secured over 60 million in grants and external resources and built partnerships with companies including Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta, OpenAI, Amazon, and Intel. His work sits at the intersection of workforce development, emerging technology, and access. Welcome, Antonio.
Thank you, Michaela. Pleasure being here with you and all the followers of your center.
Great. So I'm going to start with just a little context setting. Community colleges are uniquely positioned to connect working learners to high-wage careers in emerging technologies, and do so at scale requires partnerships that are difficult to build and sustain. So as the founder of the National Applied AI Consortium and as the Vice President of Innovation and Technology Partnerships, you have built those partnerships with many large companies, several I mentioned in your bio, and you've secured millions in grants and helped more than 50,000 students across 49 states access AI education. So today, as I said, we hope you will share some of your approaches to building these partnerships. Tell us a little bit about what you've learned and give us a little bit of advice. We have several community college leaders in our audience. So we only have 30 minutes. I'm going to dive right in. Let's start with, what is your approach to getting the attention of these really large tech companies and motivating them to invest in community college students?
Yes, and great point about engagement with industry. And really, I don't think that this applies only to community colleges. I think that this is across higher education. So the more and more, in our society, we see the question is higher education necessary? Like, our students have to go through higher education to get a job, and now with AI, even, more, discussion about it. And really, the whole point of higher education is to prepare, round-minded professionals to be effective. When they leave our institutions, they're ready for the workforce. And really, for me, it all starts at Miami Dade College, where I'm VP of Innovation and Tech Partnerships. Before this role, I was Dean of Engineering and Technology, really coming actually from outside of academia. I was a dean that was brought to Miami Dade College without any experience in academia, and that was on purpose. That was vision from the college president to think as I have to get better connected with industry. I have to create meaningful pathways that lead to employment, but high payment or high salaries to the students that come through. In this case, Miami Dade College is a community college. It's serving local communities, but usually communities that don't have the means, and they're coming to get an education to hopefully get a better future. So this is purely economic development. So this is a vision to how can we get academic degrees and programs that lead into high-paying jobs, but not because we say that those are important jobs, but actually because we connect, we partner with the companies that are either creating the technology or creating the jobs. And in this case, in technology, the Dean of Engineering and Technology, that was my role. I came out from outside of academia. I came as a practitioner in technology, with a passion to help others. And that's what really we were doing at Miami Dade College as an open door institution, like connecting that passion for technology with education and really opening doors and economic mobility. Like, great. For me, I like this is how can we reinvent the way that we are creating our programs, and not necessarily to reinvent completely. It's just how can we get closer to industry, to the companies. And I know sometimes the approach is, yeah, but what about the faculty freedom to decide what to teach? We don't teach towards one company. And no, that was never the goal. It's not to teach towards one company, because there is no one company hiring every student. So it's how do you make it in a meaningful way that you connect with the companies creating the technology, but not necessarily with from a sales perspective, but actually all those companies have an academic component. They all have an education unit that is actually created to support most of the time higher education, if not also K-12, but usually higher education. So going back to your question, like what I did to bring the attention from these companies to this community college, actually I didn't, it's just about finding the right department, the right person that actually their work is to partner with higher education. So I didn't have to do something like out of this world. It's just finding the right department that actually like they're looking for these meaningful partnerships. And that's what I've been doing for the last decade at Miami-Dade College, on getting the connection and the meaningful relationship that yes, there is these departments or units within these companies that are willing to help, that are willing to put resources. And resources not always is money. I'm talking about curriculum, I'm talking about access to their tools, which are expensive, licenses, and overall platforms that the students will have to work on when they graduate. So why they don't start working on them before graduating? And giving flexibility and also giving resources to faculty. The faculty professional development is essential. How can you teach for the latest that is happening in AI if you are not in the field? You don't know what's happening. You're teaching. So the faculty professional development is my priority on everything that I've been doing at Miami-Dade College, and then transitioning that from our experience at Miami-Dade College to a National Applied AI Consortium that is doing it at scale, not only for one institution anymore. Like this is now the opportunity to work with the whole nation, all community colleges and really higher education. How can we do, especially train the trainer in artificial intelligence if artificial intelligence is changing all the time? Yes, we did that professional development for faculty so they can then teach our students with the meaningful knowledge, skills, and abilities that they should have, specifically about AI now. And that's what, like Intel, as an example, has an amazing curriculum for educators. And like it's just a connection. Intel doesn't have the capacity to work with each institution. So through this consortium that we created at Miami-Dade College, now we have a single point of connection to that touches everyone in higher education that wants to teach AI and access that curriculum from Intel. You can do it at no cost through the consortium. And the same applies with Microsoft or Google or AWS. They have specific certifications in artificial intelligence and beyond, of course, cloud and other areas, but specifically about AI is going through one source, this National Applied AI Consortium. Now we're doing free training on all these certifications and content from Google Cloud, Amazon Web Services, or Microsoft, and faculty getting training and certifications at no cost. And that's really the vision on that industry connection that we have established first through Miami-Dade College now has become like the go-to place through this consortium for IBM and the Cisco, like even certification providers, CompTIA, Pearson, the big frontier companies, OpenAI, Anthropic, or even NVIDIA. Like we are seeing like how these companies value the connection with higher education, and they value having a point of connection that gives them access at scale to educators nationally. And on that consortium, we already have trained over 3,000 educators in just 20 months. So it's just meaningful opportunity, especially with quality, but at no cost.
That is fantastic. I applaud you. And I do want to dig in more to the Applied AI Consortium and professional development, but I just want to come back a little bit to um, the question that that we see often in higher education is these often the model I'm more familiar with is that the big tech companies are interested in investing in PhD level students, right? They want to make the connection to their future workforce and researchers there. So was there a challenge in convincing these companies that the community college students are on that path to needing that same support from them, and what advantage they have with connecting to Miami-Dade.
Great question. And it's the assumption that these companies are only looking for researchers and PhDs. And
Right.
yes, they are looking for those to continue advancing their research, but definitely not the only thing that they're looking for. These companies understand like businesses are using their products, and
Hmm.
businesses are not looking for a researcher to create the product. Businesses are using and how can I implement, AI with AWS because I'm using AWS. I need talent that knows that. So I'm talking about workforce development, and that's what community colleges can probably deliver better than anyone else. The alignment with industry and the training that comes from an applied perspective, not from a research, which universities are doing extremely well. This is the application of learning meaningful skills that you can apply the moment that you are employable. And you don't have to graduate to be employable, by the way. And with that, it's actually, this is not to work for one of these frontier companies. This is to work for any company that has to use the products that come out of those, big tech corporations. So we have examples of meaningful collaboration with companies like AWS. And yes, AWS do hire from Miami-Dade College on internships and entry-level positions. But the expectation of the collaboration is not that AWS is going to hire every single student from Miami-Dade College. How many companies are using AWS on the
Right.
platform? And like all those companies need talent. So this example applies to all these companies that we work with. They see the value on an education that prepares the students with an applied perspective, not from the research side, to really be meaningful, specifically on AI and data, that when they graduate, they know how to apply that to a business. And you know who benefits the most? Small and medium companies.
Oh, yep.
And that's why
Yep.
we see that community colleges are well positioned across the nation to fit that need of their local market, not to go and work for every student to work for a big tech company, actually to work for the local community that need AI and data into their business.
That's fantastic. Yeah, the really great point. So now looping back to what you said about the consortium and the free, no-cost professional development for faculty. I assume people can just be pointed to the website. Is there an entry point for faculty that may not already be part of the consortium or would like to take advantage beyond, let's just point them to the website.
Yes, and so basically, like this initiative came out of the experience of not every institution will be able to hire new faculty to teach AI.
Right.
And at the same time, we see the need that we have to teach AI and we have to evolve the way that the workforce is evolving and the jobs are evolving. So how can we teach AI at every institution, and especially in my case, community colleges, if they cannot afford, they're not our R1 institutions or Ivy Leagues, like they can put a lot of money and hire a bunch of new faculty.
Hmm.
The only solution is upskilling your own faculty. So that was the premises that with this consortium, or actually with the experience that we had at Miami-Dade College, Houston City College, and Maricopa Community College, we went to NSF and we pitched the idea of we want to help, help us deliver this help. And that's how the consortium was created. Seed funding from NSF that automatically grew and brought a lot of funding from philanthropic donors like Google, Microsoft, Lenovo, and others that are really putting money on how can we do AI upskilling, not of like if we can do AI upskilling at scale in the whole nation, this initiative is to actually do it first with the trainers that can do it and the
Right.
institutions that already exist. You don't have to
Yeah.
reinvent everything. You just have to upskill the existing faculty that we have. We started as community colleges because that's the funding that we got from NSF, but we really scale like, hey, by the way, what we're doing here on upskilling for faculty to teach AI also applies to universities. This is not only for community colleges. So our model is to put together with our business partners like Microsoft or AWS, Google, Intel, IBM, NVIDIA, or all these players, OpenAI. We create training, a train the trainer model that we are not the experts, they are, the business partners are. And what we do is just we waive the cost for the final user, which is the faculty. So through the website, we always have, and I added the website on the chat, we always have these upcoming events, and this is like massive wave. Now we're in the summer, so it's lower, but during the academic year, it's really heavy on training from all these partners. And either a certification training that we, not only the training is free, the certification exam, we also pay for it. So the faculty can get trained and certified, or the faculty can get meaningful training on how to incorporate content that already exists, like Intel's I mentioned before, and they can incorporate that into their courses, or they can take, one thing is the training that we offer on the website, see what is the upcoming training. I mentioned already over 3,000 faculty trained from over 880 institutions. And when I look back at the data, around 500 are community colleges. There are like 300 that are coming from universities. Like, great. Like, university faculty are also taking advantage of this training, and they're going for it. It's all online. Just sometimes you have to apply, sometimes it's already there just to register and join. Sometimes it's asynchronous that you take the content by yourself. Other times it's with a trainer that is provided to help on a specific topic or certification. So we're covering that piece and making it available through the website. But the other component is when you want to teach this content, this is not just training for you, you have to teach. We created a resource hub to make it available also for free. Like, you get training, but you also get curriculum, labs, Canvas shells. You get even your advisors, how to help the students in the program, like recommendations for advisors. All this content from either industry partners or from our own faculty, when they start developing this content, it becomes available for download, and anyone with an EDU account can go register and download the content. So just these two components available for free. I haven't seen anything in the nation that really allows you to just go to the website, register, or download, and there you go, completely for you as a faculty to leverage it.
Right. And I imagine, skipping just to one of our other questions I was going to ask, I imagine this kind of arrangement also makes you very flexible to changes in technology, right? So as the technology demands are advancing in the workforce, now there's a much tighter connection to education.
100%. Like, we're talking like upskilling, faculty to be able to teach AI. Hey, by the way, AI is changing like
Yeah.
every month. So yes, this is not a one time and done. This is a ongoing upskilling, ongoing training, new resources. And how do we keep track? If we're providing these opportunities and training and resources, how do we do it in a way that is meaningful and not what we built 5 years ago when we started doing it at Miami Dade College? By the way, when we did it at Miami Dade College was before ChatGPT, so nothing about generative AI. And hey, the moment that we launched, hey, we already have to change it. And then
Yeah.
when we changed it, hey, do you know about agentic AI? Yes, let's go and see. You're not changing everything, you're just bringing new content, new courses, or updating existing courses. And how do we keep track? That's why, again, the relationship with industry is so important. We're not chasing industry, we're just finding the right people in industry that believe in higher education, that believe on the talent that we can produce, that even believe in community college with a 2 year degree. Yes, you don't have to be a PhD to work in AI. With a
Right.
two-year associate degree, you can get a data annotator role that
Mhm.
is actually a position that every company is looking for to train models on AI. So huge opportunities that are coming, and community college is well positioned, but it's not just community colleges. Our
Right.
connection with industry go through a business industry leadership team, and this is like the evolution of an advisory committee, and these are hiring managers in AI that they can not only share what are the trends, what's happening, and it's not always to just follow the latest trends, is what is staying when you're hiring, what are the skills that are meaningful. So every year with this built members, we create a knowledge, skills, and abilities assessment to
Mhm.
understand what are the knowledge and skills that you're hiring for today, different from last year. And with that, we create a report and we make it available for free. Like, everyone can see. If you want to evolve your project or your program, here it is. Knowledge, skills, and abilities from this year. Like, hiring managers in AI. If you're a company that most companies don't know how to hire in AI yet, here it is. Knowledge, skills, and abilities that you can have in a job description for what to hire from a 2 year degree, a 4 year degree. I'm not going to get into PhDs because they've been there for a while. So it's really from a workforce perspective, meaningful content that is available for any educator or any company to how can we connect better with academia. Academia is teaching what I'm expecting and meaningful skills on AI, but as a company, I know what I can get from that talent, or how can I help get that talent to evolve through faculty first.
Excellent. So I'm going to pivot a little bit because I did want to touch on your experiences with developing these public-private partnerships. And I imagine a program like this, you mentioned the knowledge, skills, and abilities, like doing that kind of analysis takes staff, it takes time and resources. Managing a program and these relationships takes staff, takes resources. So um, how do you look at a funding a program with, public-private grants and sustainability? Like, how do you think about maintaining a program like this beyond the current awards?
Great question, because in higher education we depend a lot on grants, and we have
Yep.
seen what has been happening with federal grants lately. So and sustainability really matters, and not that we don't depend always on grants. But the first item is really like grant opportunities that come available, especially uh, from the federal side. Like NSF is one big component that I know academically universities are always looking at, but 100% looking at what is the right opportunity within NSF. But beyond NSF, Department of Commerce, Department of Labor, they have a lot of interest in workforce development at scale. And that's really what, in my case, community colleges are doing. So is just finding the right opportunity from a grant perspective. So that's more like the opportunity comes and you find it and you provide the best application. That's very, in a way, it's not proactive, it's reactive to when the opportunity shows up. The other side, like I'm always looking for those opportunities reactively when they appear. But the other side, I would say the other 50% is a proactive approach, is the philanthropic side. They're not going to put a grant together. They just see a vision, capacity, and results, and they put their money in it. So I usually use my grants, my federal grants, to be able to unlock private funding. And that's what has happened with the consortium. As an example, like tangible is happening. Well, we started with NSF with $3 million that quickly transformed into five just from NSF. And automatically, less than a year later, like Google and Microsoft realized like there is something meaningfully here happening, and the philanthropic side of those two organizations coming like, how can we help you to scale? It's just we were not chasing money. We're just sharing a vision and capacity of where we're going, what we are doing, and what we can do with more funding and with scalability. And that really aligns what they're expecting. Like these companies really care about not only how can I sell my product to more people, is how can I help as this technology continues evolving and people might be, like needing to upskill, like how can they help from that upskilling? They're not going to do it, but they rely on organizations that can do it. So
Yeah.
that's the other 50% on funding, and that also drives the sustainability piece, and not only to do more, but to make it in a meaningful way. Of course, at the end, where the sustainability come from, if it's not from grants, like yeah, the final user, the faculty paying a fee for what we're doing. Like if you want to access my training or resources, you have to pay. I don't want to do that. I don't want to put this on faculty to pay, because some universities do have the support, but most community colleges don't have that. And I know that I'm going to lose the ones that are in front of 50% of the population going through higher education today, and the ones that can be mostly benefited from actually learning AI and getting into a high-paying job. So the more I can avoid passing this cost to the final user and getting these companies to pay for it, and like, the more my sustainability comes from that relationship with industry and not from the final user.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to pause here to say that if there are questions from the audience, please feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to just keep talking. I It sounds like this is not an issue, but I'm curious if you've ever had to kind of balance attention among your funders, public and private, with different priorities. I don't know if you encounter that at all, where, there may be a philanthropic organization is much more interested in the community, whereas the ultimate goal of industry is business. They want to make people that are using their products. Do you ever have to navigate that kind of tension as you're developing your portfolio?
So great question. I think that what matters is your own vision and integrity on what you're building, and
Hmm.
not to go where the funding is telling you to go, but the opposite. Like you know your pathway, you know what you're doing, you know who you are affecting in a positive way who you are uh, supporting with your product, and that's the core, and making sure that the funding works for you, not the opposite, not to work for the funder, and that's part of the relationship building and the alignment. Like, this is clear, this is to help uh, you know most of the population of the US to get a meaningful AI upskilling, and
Mhm.
not about sales. Like, it's not never about offering a product from an industry partner into people to buy. Like, no, this is about giving people meaningful skills through their faculty at existing institutions. So it's always about keeping true to the core mission, and sometimes actually funders help you see an opportunity that you didn't see before to expand the portfolio to do something in a different way, and that's good. Like, they're meaningful partners but within the same mission, not necessarily deviating to offer something necessarily for them. And overall, when you work with many partners that are competitors between themselves, that becomes a tension point between them. Not for me. Like, that's clear since the beginning. I'm not getting married to one partner. I'm
Okay.
working with all of them because it's a faculty decision at the end. You can get training in all of them. You decide which one you want to bring to your classroom. It's your decision as a faculty. My job is to give you the option to decide from all these trainings which one you want to take.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So in our last minute, I wonder, speaking of those community colleges that are training at least 50% if more of our students in the nation, do you have any advice for them kind of stepping back a little bit more generally on how to approach public or private partners to support their AI initiatives? Especially I'm thinking now of campuses that are not located in a big metropolitan area like Miami. They may not have someone like you who came from industry. I mean, you've given us a little bit of ideas on how to frame the work that they're doing, but is there any other advice you could suggest for schools that are trying to break into these kinds of public-private partnerships for their own AI initiatives?
This is 100%. This is not a problem from one institution. That institution is trying to solve a problem for the local community. So
Right.
it's just, again, vision and capacity to connect with the meaningful partners from that community. And
Mhm.
when we started at Miami-Dade College, we started actually with local government. The Miami-Dade County as a local government, seeing the vision of, can we help Miami-Dade County people, residents, to get meaningful AI upskilling? Yes, here is funding. And the city of Miami saying, yes, we want this to happen for our local residents. And then using local government funding to have a local foundation matching that funding. And then suddenly $14 million. And then the local downtown development authority saying, I want to be part of that. I want to build an AI center in downtown Miami. Boom, like $15 million. That happened just as Miami-Dade College, not because there is a metro area, not because businesses are putting money on this. It's the local government and local foundations that care. Just making sure that this is a vision beyond an institution. This is a vision for a local community together to be stronger in workforce development.
So inspiring. Thank you so much. That was really wonderful to hear. Thank you for sharing your experiences and also giving all of our audience an opportunity to check out the consortium and the free trainings that are available there. We are unfortunately out of time, so we don't have time for questions, but I just want to thank you so much, Antonio, for joining us, and good luck with the rest of your endeavors in this consortium. I think you'll probably hear a lot from our community soon.
Thank you for the invite again. And again, all the resources are available on the consortium. Any question, through the contact information on the consortium, we can help any faculty that has an interest.
Great. Thank you again. Take care, everyone. Have a good
Bye.
day.